Surprise. I just literally got home, and I know there was a post. Let's see, trying to find it here. Okay. No, that one's not it. Sorry. Looking for it. This one. Okay, so Christina Dodd posted in Gossip today where she says, haha, just an FYI edit. Since a lot of people don't understand why I posted this, it has to do with the live feed Jax did last night regarding her phone call with Steven and Sandy requesting to be removed from the visitor list. I don't care who is on the list, who was removed. I just thought it was ironic that she'd be singing a different story now. All right, so these are tweets where somebody says, somebody says, I totally agree, Sandy. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Haven't you said yourself that you're taking yourself off of Steven's visiting list because your two friends have been thrown to the curb? Surely that in itself shows no loyalty. So you'll have plenty of time. And so then Sandra said, where did this info come from? I have no intentions of going off the list. So instead of me, and I haven't read any of the comments on here yet. I was out today and I literally just got home. But before I left to go get my new tattoo, that I just got home, Sandra messaged me. All right. But let me preface this Sandra message with that the last time I had any contact with Sandra is dated on August 13th, because Sandra started her own group because she wanted to be able to say that she has the only official Steven group. You know, because it's that constant competition thing and who gets to be the Steven group. And I'm going to sound like an asshole, but it's no contest. Steven Avery Project wins. When all they seem to care about is numbers and people, we win. Lisa, are you calling me petty and telling me let it go? I would let it go if other people stopped saying other things. I'm responding to this and I straighten out the record. So in August, I had messaged her because in her group, they were posting shit about me. So I messaged her saying, I have messaged Shaz because she's another admin of that group, but figured I would message you too. Why is Lisa posting in your group that Steven has nothing to do with me? Because at that point, that's when I did talk to Steven on the phone and did things with him. This was before he stopped calling from... Lisa, are you telling me to grow up? Because if you're telling me to grow up, you just need to leave Gossip. Don't engage. I am posting in my group. So I can post in It's My Party and I'll bitch if I want to. So this is why I'm posting here, because I have the right. And somebody posted a Sandra thing and I'm going to clear it up and give you facts. So if you don't like it, just then leave this Gossip group. That's MAM Gossip that talks about this stuff. Got it? Good. All right. So let me go back to what I was saying. So this was August. Steven stopped talking to me at the end of October. So Lisa Zakowski is a total psycho. And so she's the one that one of the times when I was going up to Manitowoc, she asked if she could meet me. And then I met her at a restaurant and she was totally ignorant to the waitress. She sent every single thing back, including the water. complaining about everything, then refused to leave a tip because she was blaming it all on the waitress for her being totally rude and ignorant to the waitress. Then she wanted to take a picture with me, and she wanted to take a picture with my boyfriend because she said we're famous. So she's a weird stalker girl of the Steven Avery case. And so then she fell in with all these weirdos who all they want to do is be famous and known from the Steven Avery case. And so now Lisa posts a whole lot of crap about me. So she posted that in Sandra's group. So I'm messaging her right away. Why is Lisa posting this? Because until then, Sandra and I never had an issue. And I defended her all the time. She never responded. So now this morning, she messages me with, may I ask why you are slandering me on your videos? If you are a supporter of Steve, how does this help him? Just for the record, you know nothing in all capitals, nothing about my relationship with Steve, and I have no intention of explaining to you. Where did you get the right to slander me? Which I'm not even going to get into. She doesn't know the difference between slander and defamation, and she also doesn't know what either of those mean, because what I've done is not either. Because for it to be slander or defamation, it has to be false, and it's not. So stating what you have done when you're stating your acts is not defamation or slander. It's what you've done. The rest of the family didn't do anything, but I don't sit still for slander. It will either stop or I will talk to an attorney. So that was Sandy's threat to me. And then my response was, just stop, Sandy. You really want to play the slander game with me. Your people have been trashing me for years and you just giggled along. Steven told me this. If you say it's not true, then take it up with him. And every time she would message me back, she would take a long time. So it's clear to me that she had to put it through her buddies on how to respond back to me, where I don't need people to fight my battles for me. I will respond to you immediately. And so she said, can you just give me the reason for doing it? I have been by Steve's side since the beginning and worked my butt off for him. No one will ever know all I did. Just because he and I have had romantic issues, put a pin in that. There are no romantic issues. They have not been a couple in a long, long time, but she keeps pretending like they are. They're not. Had a few romantic issues, should not be a factor in him getting out of prison. Who says anything is trying to stop him from getting out of prison? This isn't a contest on who the best supporter is. Oh, yes, it is. According to them, it is. This isn't about the supporters. Again, to them it is. It always is. It isn't about you and it isn't about me. It's about Steve. He is desperate right now. Why is he desperate? Why is she saying Steven is desperate? Because he put me on the list? That makes Steven desperate? That makes no sense. I'm never leaving his side. We may fight, and we do, but I believe in him, and no matter how bad you talk about me, it won't drive me away. I just wish I knew why you feel the need to bash me so badly. You and I have never had a disagreement, so why all the hatred? So my response, hatred? No. It's too bad you're not so concerned when your pals tell lies about me to Steven. I steal money? From where? I don't tell lies. You told Steven to take you off because you're so mad he took your friends off who just used you to get on the list. I want no part of your Mean Girls Club. I support Steven no matter what. You all have ulterior motives. And then she puts in all capitals, I never told him to take me off the list. And so I said, that's not what he says. He also told me about you, or he also told me what you say about your friends and what your friends say about you. And she says, I don't know what he is telling you, and I don't care. I would never tell him that, but you did. But my question to you is, why make videos bashing me? How is that helping? It's not bashing you, Sandy. It's telling the truth. You told Steven to remove you off the list. You need a break because he took your buddies off, and that your buddies were putting pressure on you to not talk to Steven anymore since he took them off the list. They told Sandra, don't talk to Steven anymore because now we're mad at him. Man. Cry, cry, cry. And so I'm addressing it on what I can't swear. How ignorant are you that your support of Steven will be controlled about these two egomaniacal women who are pissy that they got removed from the list? So that shows on you, Sandy, because you told Steven to do that. You can lie and say you didn't, but you did. And I've seen screenshots of where people told you to smack Steven upside the head for this, and you said you did. No, you didn't, because you talked shit about them to Steven. So then my response to her was, why allow posts bashing me? Why tell Steven I steal? I tell the truth. Your group, not so much. And she says, well, I have never posted anything about you, I don't think. And if I did, I'm sorry. Do you really want to help Steve? If you do, that's great. I'm asking you nicely. Please don't bash someone that never left his side. Not true. She's left his side before and then sold a story to the tabloid and then changed her Facebook page status to say she was engaged to some rapist at Steven's prison. So lie again, Sandy. I've been there through it all. No, you haven't. Way before anyone believed in him, even against my family. But when she's saying way before anybody believed in him, are you talking shit about Steven's family there, Sandy? Aghast, clutching pearls. I wanted to marry him. I was the only one there for him. Again, taking a shot at his family. Are you trying to say Dolores and Alan were not there for Steven? Really? I know the rest of them weren't. I know the rest of them all said he was guilty and they were glad he was gone because they didn't like him and they don't want to deal with him. That's why nobody visited him. But you're saying you were there and Alan and Dolores weren't? Interesting. Why do I need to be verbally abused now? Because you're lying. You're lying. You're taking the side of two people who talked shit about you, who talked shit about Kathleen, who talked shit about me, talk shit, talk shit, talk shit. Oh, sorry, I'm swearing again. I don't it. Can you tell me what you gain from this? Is it helping you? I just don't understand. And so my response, it's been asked and answered. You told Steven to remove you because your backstabbing buddies talk shit about Kathleen. Yet you all constantly want to blame me for your actions. I'm the only one supporting him. You are all in it for personal gain. And then she says, okay, I'm sorry. You can't understand. I was just trying to understand you, but I can't. Carry on. And so I said, I don't need your permission. Kisses. So, want me to stop talking about you? Then stop doing shady crap. Stop constantly pointing a finger at me and saying I'm doing something when it's all y'all that's been doing it. And you're all getting away with it because of your contact with Steven. That's why. Sorry. Oh, my throat is so dry right now. So, supporters who are sheeple just see that you visit Steven or your name's Avery, and that must mean that you care for Steven. No, it don't. So they've been sitting here spewing this stuff about me for 3 years. 3 years. And because I post something in this group that obviously they can't get enough of. Hi, Carla. Hi, Sandy. Hi, all you losers that have to watch everything I do. Must be fans of mine because I don't watch what you do. I don't go in your groups. I don't have fakes like you do, Carla. I don't need a fake. I don't care about your groups. I don't go in your groups. I really don't care. Go on your merry way. Have your dumb little parties. I don't care. I support Steven. So you told Steven lies about me, which made it so Steven didn't talk to me for 6 months. coincidentally the same time that Tracy and Angie were visiting him. Pretty funny. Stephen Avery Project still operated as usual. So if they convince Stephen again that I'm bad and I don't talk to him again, we'll still be here doing what we do. So Sandra can deny, but this is what Stephen told me, that Sandra asked to be removed from the list because she was being pressured by Tracy and Angie. Since they got removed, they wanted Sandy to cut him off too. Awesome supporters, right? Let me scroll. San says, I thought you told us about this other group last summer and told us that Stephen wanted this new group. Yes, originally he did, because he was buddy with them. So they made their group and I helped them with it. And then they turned on me and started posting that I'm a thief. So, Mamie says, sweetheart, don't let them get to you. Well within your rights to stick up for yourself. Thank you. John says, any updates on KZ response that is supposed to come this week? Nope, we haven't heard anything other than some refund she was requesting. John says, and Lisa kicks rocks. We actually like Jax in this group. Thanks, John. Christina asks, are we talking about Sandra Greenman? Yes. John says, you don't need to defend yourself on this. Talking about them only gives them the warm and fuzzies. Yeah, that's right. Christy says, who is bashing her? I haven't seen anything. She's referring to the videos I do in here. Emma says, did Stephen tell you to do a live and tell everyone? Well, Stephen wanted me to tell everybody that he removed Tracy and Angie and why. But I tried to be nice about it. And all I said was, Stephen removed some people and he's adding me to the list. They're the ones that then blew it up into this big thing that it's my fault they got removed, which that's not how it happened. Kathy says, are you sure Stephen is telling you the truth? I'd wonder. Well, I can only go off of what Stephen tells me. Is he telling me the truth? I don't know. So, but I've seen what Sandy's done in the past by having her hissy fits when Stephen doesn't do as she asks, and then she goes sells a story to a tabloid and says nasty things about Stephen. Sherry says, she seems awfully full of herself. She can't grasp that everything isn't about her, right? Andrea says, Lisa got booted, so she be crying to Carla now. Screw them, we love Jax. Isaac said, man, this would make a great reality TV show. Yeah, how about it? Charlene asked what's happened, but I'm hoping you were caught up to speed. Kristen said, wow, I feel out of the loop. I have no idea what's going on. I got to pay more attention. Well, this is just drama. You know, again, gossip group where the drama goes, but none of this is of any importance. It's just stuff's being said about me, and I'm gonna put it out there because I'm gonna give it to you straight. Christy says, wouldn't it be crazy if Stephen is causing all this drama? LOL. I mean, we don't really know what prison has done to him. Maybe this is a fun game for him. Just a thought. Don't jump on my ass. LOL. I trust Jax out of everyone. No, not jumping on you, Christy. I'm just going off of, Sandy has done this before, that she gets upset with Stephen and wants off. So, and I saw the screenshot I was sent of somebody saying that she should smack Stephen for this, and she claimed she did, which I know that's just words. You know, they weren't meaning to actually hit him, but you know, she's trying to say she's put him in his place about Angie and Tracy. And what's to put him in his place for? You know, he has heard Tracy by her own mouth saying negative stuff about Kathleen, and he doesn't want to hear it. And Kathleen doesn't want it anywhere around Stephen either. So that's why Tracy and Angie are bye-bye. So Sandy wants to choose her friends over Stephen. That's on her. You know, she said that she needs to be removed because Tracy and Angie don't want her speaking to Stephen anymore because they're mad. Andrea, Sandy sucks sweaty sweats ass. Stephanie says, sounds like they are stuck in high school wanting all the attention. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of a response. Well, once upon a time, 3 years ago, they literally said about me, they did the Mean Girls thing saying, I can't sit with them. You know, I don't want to sit with you. I have no interest in being a part of their Mean Girls Club. Really, honestly, truly, I don't. Jane says, I remember Sandy saying she was engaged to a pedophile and posted it. Yeah. Stephanie says, although I understand you're responding because I wouldn't like people saying lies about me either. I want to stop talking about this. I really do. And every time I say this is going to be the one and only time I'm going to address it, something else comes up. So because Sandy sent this all to me today, and I know by how long it was taking her to respond to me and such, people were helping her in her responses. And since that's all in writing, they're going to post this shit places. So this is a gossip group. So I'm giving it all to you guys. So if you see it anywhere else, I just read it to you. And if you don't take my word for it on what I'm saying was back and forth in a message, I can post the screenshots. But I think it's just easier for me to, you know, just go live and explain it. It takes far less time than me typing all this stuff. Christina says, your to the point attitude cracks me up. I love it. I want one of your rants to be my ringtone. Charlene says, how is Stephen doing? The last time I talked to him was yesterday, and I actually had to cut our call off because I was doing a protest and we had to go. So, but he was doing well, and he told me that I was officially approved for visits, and I'm going to go visit him soon. So I will be giving you guys an update after my visit with Stephen, but I'm not telling you which day I'm going. Since, like I said in yesterday's live, Carla likes to watch what I do and follow me around. So I'm not going to let her know when I'm there. Rachel says, Jax, you have always said Stephen is being liked for alternative motivation. Putting them on blast is life. Yeah, fuck them. They need it. Vent lady, I would too. I know. I really should stop talking about them because, as I say, they're insignificant and they're just trying, and they're irrelevant, and they're trying to be relevant. And that's what I do here by talking about it. But when my name is addressed, and like I said, I haven't read this thread at all that Christina had posted today with the screenshots from Sandra. So I thought instead of responding in that, I would just do this live. And I really don't want to talk about this again. Kristen says, oh, so normal business as usual, par for the course with those people. Christy says, oh, I almost missed this. Yeah, Christy, sorry. Yeah, I know I had said I was going to type something, and I'm like, I'm lazy. And also, I just came home from getting this tattoo. And so as I'm speaking, my arm is starting to swell. So, yeah, I don't want to be sitting here typing when, this is all puffy, and I don't know if you can see, it's still bloody. So, hello, Wisconsin Dells, Jason. Kathy says, just don't let yourself be a tool for Stephen. We all support him, but that doesn't mean you have to get involved in all this personal childish crap. That's an excellent point because I have been used for years. I am the one that people know that they can come to, and I will put it out. And so Stephen has had me do things in the past, and I won't say what those are, that I even said to him when he asked me to do it, I'm going to get lambasted for this. And it's like, but whatever, I'm used to it. But you're right. We'll make note of that. That's an excellent point, Kathy. Denise says, crap, I wish I could rewind a live feed. Yeah, well, I'll keep it up and you can play it from the start, and then so will Carla and Sandy and everybody else and whoever the spies are in here that's giving it back to them. Carla, I'm sure it's got a fake name in here. Georgia says, I can't believe Sandy flip-flopped. She's annoying to me anyway since I saw her Dr. Phil episode. She was the only supporter, I won't say family member, that was there for him for a long time. I agree with that. But she's let this infamy of the Stephen Avery case get to her head and put being in these cliques in these Facebook groups above that Stephen's in prison for something he didn't do. She cares more about having these girls over at her house and taking pictures and look at us than what's happening to Stephen. And those dumbass rallies, they're the dumbest things ever. That's doing nothing for Stephen. Absolutely nothing. It actually works against Stephen that it's this huge case and 15 people show up. And all they're doing is wanting to get on camera and talk to their friends or feel like they have fans. Sandy likes all the people falling to, their knees and, oh, we're not worthy, Sandy. You're the most awesomest because you're supporter number one. That doesn't help Stephen at all. So Debbie says she had to get it right from the wannabe lawyer, right? I wonder if the not a lawyer chick will be the one that will represent her in her slander suit. Lisa says, am at the hospital waiting room and missed what has happened. Mamie says, you're way ahead of them again, honey. Michelle says, what's the crap with Lynn that came out today? I haven't even looked at it. I know Lynn sold stories again to the tabloids. I don't read them. I saw they got posted. I allowed when people submitted it, I allowed it to go up here, so people can rip on it. I choose not to look at it. Lynn's pathetic. She really only talked to Stephen for 3 months or so. And it was 2.5 years ago or whatever. She's nothing. So don't pay attention to anything that Lynn says or does. Denise says, how far is Stephen from where you are, Jax? It's, according to my GPS, it's an 2.5 hour drive. Lisa says, Sandy as in his friend that has been around for a while? Correct. Michelle says, when we talk about them, we make them important. Yep. Charlene's asking what happened with Sandy. You'll be able to play this from the beginning because I don't want to keep rehashing everything to make this a million miles long. And then Charlene says, I miss everything. Yeah, well, I didn't announce this one. So, I do that at times. I literally got home, put my dogs outside, washed my tattoo, and got on to get it done. Michelle says, I thought she was hooking up with Earl. Well, Earl and Chuck hit on everybody. So I don't think Sandy's hooking up with them, but I think they flirt. Mary says, Sandy just wants more than her 15 minutes of fame. She makes me sick. Georgia says, right. Couldn't agree more. Denise says, sounds like Sandy is lonely and desperate for attention and friends. Correct. Sherry says, they are what I've seen referred to as pick-me-ass bitches. Michelle says, KZ response was hilarious. Oh, to Lynn's thing, yeah. Lisa, stop worrying about Sandy. Just stop already. Rise above. I'm not worrying. I am so not worried. Mamie says, how long will you get in the visit? I'm not sure if it's like 3 hours, 2 hours, something like that. Rachel says, I would dog walk these people, lie about you and saying you steal. Honey, if you get money from this group, it's because we are in this together and you aren't going to Red Lobster for a GoFundMe. Thus, MAM gossip. I want to hear the juice. Christy says, I am a moderator and she didn't even tell me she was going on. Christy says, show us your new tat. I showed it. God, I'm so bad at this. So you can't really see it. It's in a weird spot on my arm. Can you see it? It's a uterus. It's for a group I belong to called Lady Parts Justice League. Amanda says, in your opinion, who is the most toxic person in Steven's life and why? Who? Carla. Because Sandy actually has been good for Steven at times. Carla never has. Carla is all about herself. Sandy, if she gets out of wanting to be part of that weird mean girl clique, she's good for Steven. You know? So, and yes, I know she goes back and forth, but I wouldn't say Sandy's the most toxic. It's Carla. Carla is the biggest piece of shit in all of this. Lisa, are you Lisa Bishop, going to keep telling me what purpose does this serve you grow up? Because you're about to get banned. I'm going to keep scrolling to the bottom. But I'm getting a little tired of being told to grow up. Because no, I'm going to say what I want in my group. You don't like it, leave. Christy says, Lisa, if you don't like it, why are you here? Oh, it's her group, leave. Lisa says, you are letting her take you to her level. No, I'm not. I'm explaining what's going on. I'm not talking shit. I'm talking facts. Whoops, sorry. San says, oh, okay, just people talking to Lisa. Kathy says, Sandy can be led by the nose. Yeah. Michelle says, Lynn said in her post that Steven blames Brendan. All right. Steven is pissed that Brendan didn't shut his mouth. So, you can't fault him for that. They had nothing until they had Brendan's confession. And yes, Brendan was coerced and all that, but when you're the one that gets thrown in prison and it's due to, you know, Brendan saying stuff, you get pissed. You know? So, yes, I don't know exactly all Lynn said there, but he has had moments where he's pissed off that Brendan said anything. So, and don't interpret that as because, oh, you know, they were guilty and Brendan busted them. But you see what I'm saying. So, but if she's blaming Brendan as in Brendan did the crime, no, never. Tara says, Carla definitely, she keeps the drama going. So Christy handled Lisa, who had to keep telling me to grow up. Marianne said, Sandy isn't toxic, but she's without a doubt weak-minded. I agree. Christy says this has been going on for over a week and has no patience for it. Sorry, not sorry. Christy, another Christy with the C, says Lynn is crazy. She's the gold digging hoe. You know, I know people keep pointing fingers and calling people gold digging hoes. That's Lynn. Georgia says, if Jax didn't explain this stuff, certain supporters would believe Carla's groupie talk. Yeah. And Kathy says, I don't blame him. And Tammy says, especially stuff that's not true. Denise says, I would be pissed off too if I were in Steven's shoes. Why wouldn't he be? Steven has the right to hate the world. You know, I truly think, you know, been locked up not once but twice for something you didn't do. Both times, everybody but your parents desert you. So, yeah, I'd be mad at the world. Yet he's not. I would be negative about everything. He always thinks just around the corner he's going to get out. You know, so for what that man has had to live through, he's handling it very well. So, you know, some things he's going to get pissed off about. Marianne says, absolutely. I can't blame him for being angry. He loves him, I'm sure, but he wouldn't be where he is if he didn't talk. Miley says, what the hell am I missing? You'll have to watch it from the start because I don't want to rehash because I don't want to constantly be on here. Well, and again, I'll be accused of, I just want attention and want to be on screen, blah, blah. I'm just explaining the Sandy thread. Nancy says, do you have a relationship with Steven that you know what he is thinking and how he feels? If you just got added to the visitor list, how do you know him so well? I've been talking to him for 2 years or so. I'm not going to say I know him and know his every thought. I'm just knowing what he tells me. Is he lying to me? Maybe. I don't know. I can't say that with certainty. I only go by, I say what he says. So, and I have past actions to look on. And then Nancy Joe continued with, do you guys write each other? No, I don't write to him because he calls me. And I figure he gets so much mail. What's the point in me taking up, you know, writing him when whatever I want to say to him, I'll just say to him on a phone call. So, and in the 6 months he didn't call me, and I assumed he was pissed at me because Carla had said, I'm telling Steven on you. I didn't write to him either, even though people had said, you should write to him and explain your side. Well, I don't know exactly what all it was that Carla did. And I'm like, well, whatever. Either Steven wants to talk to me or he doesn't. I'm not, you know, I wasn't going to play that stupid game. Emma says, I commented under something Lynn wrote once, and she commented back, but I blanked her. And a week later, commented again, trying to start, but she doesn't want attention. Kimberly says, hey, no dissing Jax. Well, thank you, Kimberly. Michelle says, let's talk about Lynn saying Steven called her a vagina. What? Because like I said, I don't read Lynn's stuff because she just lies. Denise says, what's Steven combined jail time compared to his age? Has he spent half his life in jail or more? He's been in prison for 33 years. And he's 55, I believe. Don't make me do numbers, Denise. Numbers and I don't get along, but I believe those are the numbers. That he's 55 and been in prison for 33 years. Tom says it's only natural that Steven would be mad with Brendan, but when he thinks clearly, he knows him and wavers between understanding and being angry. Yes. Miley will catch up when she gets home. Georgia says, sorry, but Nancy Joe's page looks fake. Nancy Joe says, not dissing, just asking. I'm brand new. Kathy says, Jax never said she knew him and knows what he thinks. Olivia, hi, Olivia. Michelle says, hey, Jax, I just got on. What is going on? Just me answering the thread that's in gossip on the Sandy stuff. Hi, Nicole. Katie says, oh, Katie's talking to Nancy. Kathy says, don't explain to the trolls. Amy says, morning from Oz. Morning. Nancy Joe says, thank you for answering. I appreciate your response. I'm not fake, I promise. I know it gets hard. So, tensions run high, and I get it. Sand says he's 56. So he served 33 out of his 56 years. It's longer than Olivia's been alive. Christy says he has spent 32 years in prison and he is 56. And Colleen says 58% of his life in prison. Nancy Joe says, yes, I do think Stephen Avery is innocent. I just asked a question. Geez, won't do that again. I'm so glad Jax was respectful to my question. Well, Nancy, especially with what's going on right now, people are going to be suspicious of things. So, let's all chill. Heather said, hi, Heather. Brian says, has anyone who has read Lynn's lies noticed she tends to rephrase a lot of Jody's accusations? That should be a clue as to how fake Lynn is. Just saying. That's an interesting observation. Michelle said the thread about her being off Stephen's list, as if she would go off his list. Yeah, that's the thread, and she asked Stephen to remove her from the list because her buddies asked her to. Yeah, Michelle says you really get a kick out of Lynn's articles. At times I have, but it's just like I'm sucked into my own drama. So it's like, I can only take so much. Ashley, I think what you do is informative. I adore you for what you have put into this. Rock on, babe. Oh, thank you, Ashley. Christy says, people are very defensive and on edge right now. Relax. Georgia says, sorry, no harm intended. Get it? Yeah. Don't worry about it, everybody. And now I'm down to the last one saying, I know Carla posted something on Twitter about her visit with Brendan. Yeah, because she's going to, because that's all Carla has now, that she has Brendan. So she's going to ride that into the ground to give her relevance, that she's got her hooks into Brendan. Amy says, any new news? Sorry if you have already gone over it. Have they made any decision on a new trial yet? Nope, nothing new yet, Amy. Sorry. And Kimberly says, my dissing remark was meant for Sandy and the others. Yeah. So, all right. So that means I'm going to end this one now. So, I think I'm doing a podcast tomorrow I've told you before that I'm joining this WMP Justice Review. Here, let me find it as I plug. I can't see with my fake glasses on when I look at my keyboard, even though I can type without doing it. All right, so I joined this WMP Justice Review. I know I've talked about it before, and they're bringing me on to help with, they want to be doing wrongfully convicted cases. So they have a whole team of experts, so they have lawyers and doctors and people who have been wrongfully convicted, all that are a part of this. And they actually started with WMP, stands for Words Matter Publishing. So it's a publishing house. And so I'm supposed to do I think I'm doing a podcast with Tammy, who started that, tomorrow. And I don't know if it's something that automatically goes on this or what. I don't know anything about it. And so the case that they've been covering is, and they have a book that's going to be coming out soon on it, as well as a press conference, and they're going to be filing for her in June, is the Marnie Yang case. So, and Marnie Yang is in the same prison as Melissa Kaluzinski, and the a lot of, and Melissa and Marnie's case is both from Lake County, Illinois. They have some of the same corrupt police officers involved. So I I'm supposed to be doing something on here tomorrow, and I think it will remain up there. And so I'll post the link in Gossip afterwards if you're interested. This thing, the Facebook page literally went live, I think, like a week ago or 2 weeks. So it's a work in progress right now. So, all right, let me scroll down to see what else is on here. Victoria asks, can you explain me the current status of Stephen? We're waiting for the court to respond if he's going to get a new trial or what is going on there, from Kathleen's filing talking about the bones that were found at the gravel pit, and that the judge should recuse herself and all that. We're still just waiting. Tom asked, do you talk to Brendan? No, I haven't talked to Brendan in a long, long time. I used to back when I was friends with Barb. And then Barb had told me on a Friday that she had given her blessing for Brendan to add me to his list. And by Monday, Scott had kicked me out. And then Barb and Scott hated me. So, and they told Brendan he couldn't talk to me any longer. And I sent him a letter after that too, and he mailed it back to me unopened because his mom told him he wasn't allowed to open my letter. So Michelle says, it'd be fun if you could visit or do a call with his parents. I have visited Dolores before, and I would never, ever do a live with Al or Dolores. They don't want that kind of stuff. They really don't. And so I really hate when Carla will drag Dolores out to those stupid rallies. Dolores doesn't want to be there. And I know it for a fact. You want to know why? Because I asked her about it. It was, and I can tell you exactly when it happened. I was up at the salvage yard, and it's when I was doing the video, when my boyfriend stayed down at the bus stop, and I walked down where Barb's van for sale had been parked. So I could prove that there is no way the bus driver could have seen Teresa Hallback. No way. All right. And it's what? A quarter mile from where the van was to where the bus stop is. And then when I walked from there back to the bus stop where everybody was. And while I was walking, Dolores pulled up. She was driving her golf cart. And this was right before the very first rally that I had organized. And so I talked to her about the rally and said, are you coming to the rally? And she said she really didn't want to. And I said, well, if it is because, you have a hard time walking, we can pay for a wheelchair, and do that for you. And she said, no, she really, really doesn't want to go. And then I've seen from that point on, she's dragged out to these things. And I visited her at her home once, and she doesn't want the attention. She doesn't want cameras. She doesn't want fans. She doesn't want any of that. So I would never, I understand people, because Al and Dolores are so beloved by the Making a Murderer community. So I get that, but they don't want it. So, just leave them in peace. Teresa says, what is Carla's relation to Stephen? Carla is Chuck Avery's daughter. Chuck is Stephen's brother, so she is Stephen's niece. Mamie said, poor Brendan, he's just a pawn in this whole game. Yep. And there's my link to Justice Review. Amanda and Dondi saying hello. And Carolyn saying, isn't Kathleen filing something this week? And Christy's already responded to that. Olivia says, they just want some privacy. I have a lot of respect for Dolores and Alan. I agree. And Tom says, I hate that Brendan is so led around and Scott keeps showing how much a bleep he is. I do too. Brendan's a sweet kid, you know? So I really hope that Brendan is free someday and he can be around people who truly care about him and are going to protect him, because he's going to need it badly. He needs it way more than Steven does, because Steven can take care of himself. Brendan can't. Brendan is now institutionalized. You know, he's been locked up since he was 16 years old. He's never had the opportunity to live as an adult, to drive a car, to, you know, go on a date. And people are going to use that poor kid. So, all right. I'm for sure leaving this time. So, sorry for the ones that don't want to hear me bringing up this stuff again. But I'm putting it out there, you know, to set a record straight, because I know it's going to go everywhere else, that Carla's going to tweet about it and they're going to post it in their little groups. So I react to their actions. Oh, Claire says, blimey, I made a comment to Sandy on Twitter and asked a question, not in group. I didn't mean the group. She replied. I replied politely, left it at that. Then, bam, it's in the group and I've caused upset. Sorry. Oh, no, don't be sorry. I'm happy, you know, because let me address it, you know, so I'm fine with that. You've done nothing wrong, Claire. So, all right, now I'm really leaving. So everybody have a good evening and get prepared for the weekend, because winter is coming. Game of Thrones starts on Sunday. Woohoo. All right. Till next time.